Marine biology is the scientific study of organisms in the ocean or other marine or brackish bodies of water. Given that in biology many phyla, families and genera have some species that live in the sea and others that live on land, marine biology classifies species based on the environment rather than on taxonomy. Marine biology differs from marine ecology as marine ecology is focused on how organisms interact with each other and the environment, while biology is the study of the organisms themselves. A large proportion of all life on Earth exists in the ocean. Exactly how large the proportion is unknown, since many ocean species are still to be discovered. The ocean is a complex three-dimensional world covering about 71% of the Earth's surface. The habitats studied in marine biology include everything from the tiny layers of surface water in which organisms and abiotic items may be trapped in surface tension between the ocean and atmosphere, to the depths of the oceanic trenches, sometimes 10,000 meters or more beneath the surface of the ocean. Specific habitats include coral reefs, kelp forests, seagrass meadows, the surrounds of seamounts and thermal vents, tidepools, muddy, sandy and rocky bottoms, and the open ocean zone, where solid objects are rare and the surface of the water is the only visible boundary. The organisms studied range from microscopic phytoplankton and zooplankton to huge cetaceans 30 meters in length. Marine life is a vast resource, providing food, medicine, and raw materials, in addition to helping to support recreation and tourism all over the world. At a fundamental level, marine life helps determine the very nature of our planet. Marine organisms contribute significantly to the oxygen cycle, and are involved in the regulation of the Earth's climate. Shorelines are in part shaped and protected by marine life, and some marine organisms even help create new land. Many species are economically important to humans, including food fish. It is also becoming understood that the well-being of marine organisms and other organisms are linked in very fundamental ways. The human body of knowledge regarding the relationship between life in the sea and important cycles is rapidly growing, with new discoveries being made nearly every day. These cycles include those of matter and of air. Large areas beneath the ocean surface still remain effectively unexplored. History. The earliest instances of the study of marine biology can be traced back to Aristotle, who made several contributions which laid the foundation for many future discoveries and were the first big steps in the early exploration period of the ocean and marine life. British naturalist, Edward Forbes was also a key player in the history of marine biology and is considered by many as the founder of the science of oceanography and marine biology. Overall, the pace of oceanographic and marine biology studies quickly accelerated during the course of the 19th century. The observations made in the first studies of marine biology fueled the age of discovery and exploration that followed. During this time, a vast amount of knowledge was gained about the life that exists in the oceans of the world. Many voyages contributed significantly to this pool of knowledge. Among some of the most significant is the Hms Beagle, where Charles Darwin came up with his theories of evolution and on the formation of coral reefs. Another important expedition is the Hms Challenger, where findings of unexpectedly high species diversity of fauna stimulated much theorizing by population ecologists on how such varieties of life could be maintained in what was thought to be such a hostile environment. This era was extremely important for the history of marine biology, but naturalists were still limited in their studies simply because they lacked certain technology that would allow them to accurately examine the species that lurked the deep parts of the oceans. The creation of marine labs was important because marine scientists had places to conduct research and process their specimens from expeditions. One of the most important marine labs is Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, where scientists stayed and conducted years of significant research and made many important findings. There were also many technological advances that further enhanced the study of marine biology. For example, sound navigation, ranging, scuba diving gear, submersibles and remotely operated vehicles, to name a few, are some of the more impactful technologies in marine biology which allowed naturalists to explore depths of the oceans that people once thought never existed. Subfields. The marine ecosystem is large, and thus there are many subfields of marine biology. Most involve studying specializations of particular animal groups, such as phycology, invertebrate zoology and ichthyology. Other subfields study the physical effects of continual immersion in seawater and the ocean in general, adaptation to a salty environment, and the effects of changing various oceanic properties on marine life. A subfield of marine biology studies the relationships between oceans and ocean life, and global warming and environmental issues. Recent marine biotechnology has focused largely on marine biomolecules, especially proteins, that may have uses in medicine or engineering. Marine environments are the home to many exotic biological materials that may inspire biomimetic materials. Related fields: marine biology is a branch of biology and is closely linked to oceanography. It also encompasses many ideas from ecology. Fisheries science and marine conservation can be considered partial offshoots of marine biology. Marine chemistry, physical oceanography and atmospheric sciences are closely related to this field. Animals, birds. Birds adapted to living in the marine environment are often referred to as seabirds. Examples include albatross, penguins, gannets, and auks. Although they spend most of their lives in the ocean, species such as gulls can often be found thousands of miles inland. Fish. Fish anatomy includes a two-chambered heart, operculum, swim bladder, scales, fins, lips, eyes and secretory cells that produce mucus. Fish breathe by extracting oxygen from water through their gills. Fins propel and stabilize the fish in the water. Many fish fall under two major categories, elasmobranchia and teleostae. A reported 32,700 species of fish have been described, more than the combined total of all other vertebrates. About 60% of fish species are saltwater fish. Invertebrates. As on land, invertebrates make up a huge portion of all life in the sea. Invertebrate sea life includes cnidaria such as jellyfish and sea anemones. Ctenophora. Sea worms including the phyla platyhelminths, Mati, Annelida, Sapuncula, Echara, Chutonatha, and Phoronida. Mollusca including shellfish, squid, octopus. Arthropoda including Chelicerata and Crustacea. Porifera. Bryozoa. Echinodermata including starfish. And Urochordata including sea squirts or tunicates. Mammals. There are 5 main types of marine mammals. Cetaceans include toothed whales, such as the sperm whale, dolphins, and porpoises such as the Dall's porpoise. Cetaceans also include baleen whales, such as the gray whale, humpback whale, and blue whale. Sirenians include manatees, the dugong, and the extinct Steller's sea cow. Seals, sea lions, and the walrus are all considered pinnipeds. The sea otter is a member of the family Mustelidae, which includes weasels and badgers. The polar bear is sometimes considered a marine mammal because of its dependence on the sea. Reptiles. Reptiles which inhabit or frequent the sea include sea turtles, sea snakes, terrapins, the marine iguana, and the saltwater crocodile. Most extant marine reptiles, except for some sea snakes, are oviparous and need to return to land to lay their eggs. Thus most species, excepting sea turtles, spend most of their lives on or near land rather than in the ocean. Despite their marine adaptations, most sea snakes prefer shallow waters nearby land, around islands, especially waters that are somewhat sheltered, as well as near estuaries. Some extinct marine reptiles, such as ichthyosaurs, evolved to be viviparous and had no requirement to return to land. Fungi. Over 1,500 species of fungi are known from marine environments. These parasitize marine algae or animals, or are saprobes on algae, corals, protozoan cysts, seagrasses, wood and other substrata, and can also be found in sea foam. Spores of many species have special appendages which facilitate attachment to the substratum. A very diverse range of unusual secondary metabolites is produced by marine fungi. Plants and algae. Plant life is widespread and very diverse under the ocean. Microscopic photosynthetic algae contribute a larger proportion of the world's photosynthetic output than all the terrestrial forests combined. Most of the niche occupied by subplants on land is actually occupied by macroscopic algae in the ocean, such as sargassum and kelp, which are commonly known as seaweeds that creates kelp forests. The non-algae plants that survive in the sea are often found in shallow waters, such as the seagrasses. These plants have adapted to the high salinity of the ocean environment. The Intertidal Zone is also a good place to find plant life in the sea, where mangroves or cordgrass or beach grass might grow. Microscopic algae and plants provide important habitats for life, sometimes acting as hiding and foraging places for larval forms of larger fish and invertebrates. Microscopic life. Microscopic life undersea is incredibly diverse and still poorly understood. For example, the role of viruses in marine ecosystems is barely being explored even in the beginning of the 21st century. The role of phytoplankton is better understood due to their critical position as the most numerous primary producers on Earth. Phytoplankton are categorized into cyanobacteria, various types of algae, diatoms, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, coccolithophorids, cryptomonads, chrysophytes, chlorophytes, prasinophytes, and silicoflagellates. Zooplankton tend to be somewhat larger, and not all are microscopic. Many protozoal zooplankton, including dinoflagellates, zooflagellates, foraminiferans, and radiolarians. Some of these are also phytoplankton. The distinction between plants and animals often breaks down in very small organisms. Other zooplankton include cnidarians, ctenophores, chaetognaths, mollusks, arthropods, urochordates, and annelids such as polycats. Many larger animals begin their life as zooplankton before they become large enough to take their familiar forms. Two examples are fish larvae and sea stars. Marine habitats. Marine habitats can be divided into coastal and open ocean habitats. Coastal habitats are found in the area that extends from the shoreline to the edge of the continental shelf. Most marine life is found in coastal habitats, even though the shelf area occupies only 7% of the total ocean area. Open ocean habitats are found in the deep ocean beyond the edge of the continental shelf. Alternatively, marine habitats can be divided into pelagic and demersal habitats. Pelagic habitats are found near the surface or in the open water column, away from the bottom of the ocean. Demersal habitats are near or on the bottom of the ocean. An organism living in a pelagic habitat is said to be a pelagic organism, as in pelagic fish. Similarly, an organism living in a demersal habitat is said to be a demersal organism, as in demersal fish. Pelagic habitats are intrinsically shifting and ephemeral, depending on what ocean currents are doing. Marine habitats can be modified by their inhabitants. Some marine organisms, like corals, kelp and seagrasses, are ecosystem engineers which reshape the marine environment to the point where they create further habitat for other organisms. Intertidal and shore. Intertidal zones, those areas close to shore, are constantly being exposed and covered by the ocean's tides. A huge array of life lives within this zone. Shore habitats span from the upper intertidal zones to the area where land vegetation takes prominence. It can be underwater anywhere from daily to very infrequently. Many species here are scavengers, living off of sea life that is washed up on the shore. Many land animals also make much use of the shore and intertidal habitats. A subgroup of organisms in this habitat bores and grinds exposed rock through the process of bioerosion. Reefs. Reefs comprise some of the densest and most diverse habitats in the world. The best-known types of reefs are tropical coral reefs which exist in most tropical waters. However, reefs can also exist in cold water. Reefs are built up by corals and other calcium-depositing animals, usually on top of a rocky outcrop on the ocean floor. Reefs can also grow on other surfaces, which has made it possible to create artificial reefs. Coral reefs also support a huge community of life, including the corals themselves, their symbiotic zooxanthellae, tropical fish and many other organisms. Much attention in marine biology is focused on coral reefs and the El Niño ± weather phenomenon. In 1998, coral reefs experienced the most severe mass bleaching events on record, when vast expanses of reefs across the world died because sea surface temperatures rose well above normal. Some reefs are recovering, but scientists say that between 50% and 70% of the world's coral reefs are now endangered and predict that global warming could exacerbate this trend. Open ocean. The open ocean is relatively unproductive because of a lack of nutrients, yet because it is so vast, in total it produces the most primary productivity. Much of the Oceanic zone's energy is supplied by the open ocean in the form of detritus. Deep sea and trenches. The deepest recorded oceanic trench measured to date is the Mariana Trench, near the Philippines, in the Pacific Ocean at 10,924 am. At such depths, water pressure is extreme and there is no sunlight, but some life still exists. A white flatfish, a shrimp and a jellyfish was seen by the American crew of the bathyscaphe Trieste when it dove to the bottom in 1960. Other notable oceanic trenches include Monterey Canyon, in the eastern Pacific, the Tonga Trench in the southwest at 10,882 am, the Philippine Trench, the Puerto Rico Trench at 8,605 am, the Romance Trench at 7,760 am, Fram Basin in the Arctic Ocean at 4,665 am, the Java Trench at 7,450 am, and the South Sandwich Trench at 7,235 am. In general, the deep sea is considered to start at the Oceanic zone, the point where sunlight loses its power of transference through the water. Many life forms that live at these depths have the ability to create their own light known as bioluminescence. Marine life also flourishes around seamounts that rise from the depths, where fish and other sea life congregate to spawn and feed. Hydrothermal vents along the mid-ocean ridge spreading centers act as oases, as do their opposites, cold seeps. Such places support unique biomes and many new microbes and other life forms have been discovered at these locations. Distribution factors. An active research topic in marine biology is to discover and map the life cycles of various species and where they spend their time. Marine biologists study how the ocean currents, tides and many other oceanic factors affect ocean life forms, including their growth, distribution and well-being. This has only recently become technically feasible with advances in GPS and newer underwater visual devices. Most ocean life breeds in specific places, nests or not in others, spends time as juveniles in still others, and in maturity in yet others. Scientists know little about where many species spend different parts of their life cycles. For example, it is still largely unknown where sea turtles and some sharks travel. Tracking devices do not work for some life forms, and the ocean is not friendly to technology. This is important to scientists and fishermen because they are discovering that by restricting commercial fishing in one small area they can have a large impact in maintaining a healthy fish population in a much larger area far away. See also: Lists. References. External links: Smithsonian Ocean Portal, Marine Conservation Society, Marine Biology at DMOZ, Marine Ecology, An Evolutionary Perspective. Free Special Issue, Marine Biology in Time and Space, Creatures of the Deep Ocean, a National Geographic documentary, 2010.